We got 15 seconds, Greg.
Okay.
Something like that, yep.
There we go.
At this time, I'd like to call our Town of Pierson workshop to order on Thursday, March the 5th, 2026 at 3 p.m. Ryan, would you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Gray Leonard.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Robert Greenland.
Here.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson.
Here.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Here.
Councilwoman Brandy Pierson.
Here.
And Town Clerk Yvonne Braddock is absent, and I am present.
All righty. Lenny, would you lead us in an invocation?
Gladly, sir. Let us pray. Dear Lord, as usual, we come to you with great thanks for giving us this precious town. Dear Lord, I ask that you please guide and inspire us this evening to make the best decisions for our town as a whole. And dear Lord, in light of the things that are happening around the world, I ask you to please bless the United States of America. And we ask these things in your great name. Amen.
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 Please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Right. Next item is our new business, and we have one topic, and it's the water system fund discussion. And Ryan, would you like to start us out on that, or would you, Bobby? You're our water
Whatever.
chairman.
I figure, I am the water chairman, but I figure Ryan would have things, a list of what we wanted to discuss in regards to the rates, or what you want to talk about.
No rates, I think we're good on.
We're good on rates.
The only thing we might want to go over, so in front of you, this is our current water ordinance. This is everything, and you can see under each item, it'll tell you, it was adopted by ordinance 99, 98. So in other words, some stuff was in 1993, some stuff was in 1998. So if y'all want to read over it and see if there's anything you want to change, I think the thing that we talked about, the reason we called a meeting is because people keep coming to council and asking for water bill forgiveness. Right. And we have a verbal policy on that, but we don't have a written policy on that. So do we need to amend these ordinances to add the written policy, to add that in there? Because the way it works now, say a resident has a really bad leak. They get a $600 bill. They come to the town, they talk to Marcy. Marcy figures out an average, let's say for 6 months. You subtract that average off the $600, and then whatever is left over, Pierson forgives half of that. So in other words, they're paying their 6-month average plus half of the difference, and then we forgive the rest of it. So, but again, if it goes over $500, it comes to council, because we also have a verbal policy that says no one can approve anything over $500. So you got to change that too if you're going to change this. So what do y'all want to do? I mean, how do we want to do that? Do we want to keep that policy?
I think we need to have some type of policy in-house, and it probably needs to be documented in writing on a water forgiveness, in case somebody does have a water leak and they don't know it. Mm-hmm. I think that there should be something in there, though, to determine a water leak that's between the meter and the house, or a water leak that's actually in the house. For instance, if a tree uprooted a water line between the meter and their structure, it's something that they may not ever be aware of until they ever got their water bill. I mean, if it's not a leak there and somebody just left a hose on outside running for 2 days, I think that's going to fall on the homeowner. And I don't have a problem with forgiving like we've been doing, but I think there needs to be a limit to the amount of times we can forgive it like, especially like in 1 year, let's say, or a time frame? I don't know how you guys feel about that. but
It's currently, you can only do it once a year.
Once a year, right,
That's kind of the verbal.
Right.
right.
Now, keep in mind, we agreed to do this pilot program. My hope is that if the town gets the funding to upgrade these meters, that kind of thing becomes sort of a rare occurrence, because
Yes.
if they're using 100 gallons a minute, it's going to send us and them a notification saying,
yeah.
hey, something's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you could at least either shut it off, or, in fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sean at Stayline told me you can remotely shut the meter off, which would be great, because then until you got answers, I mean, obviously you could send the boys out to shut it off, but if you could shut it off from the office, that would stop the bleeding until you figured out. But I still think anything that we do in the town, there should be an ordinance or written policy, especially since these are online now. You can keyword search them. It's really easy for us to find these. Back in the day, you had to go find a book and you had to flip through it. But with all this online, in fact, when people call and ask me stuff, I just automatically get on our website and search for it. There's no point in flipping through, a binder.
Yes, we need to differentiate, like Ray said. Some kid leaves the damn hose on.
Right.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
that's human error for sure. Differentiate between that and an act of God,
Right.
a root,
Right.
Right.
you know what I mean? I had that happen to me.
Even lightning.
Correct, lightning will do it.
Bust a line.
I think if it happens between the meter and the home, I don't know that we need to have a limit on the amount of times. I mean, it doesn't happen that often anyhow. But if they keep having leaks in the house, I mean, a one-time-a-year forgiveness on that, I think would be, from my point of view, would probably be adequate. I mean,
What we need to do then is, like you say, get a resolution and incorporate it.
Well, what we'll do is we'll amend this, we'll add it to this.
Right.
So you tell us what the parameters are, and then we'll bring it to you for a vote. But, I mean, you might as well go ahead and discuss that now. Are we doing it annually? You're allowed to apply one time annually for like a
Yes.
house leak? Okay.
Yes.
that's what I put in my note. One time a year if it's in the home.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but if I have a toilet in my bathroom that's leaking, when I walk in my bathroom, I'm going to hear it.
Yeah,
It's going
you
to,
know
it's just
it,
going to be running.
But you'd be surprised at how many people come in here and don't.
Well,
Especially if it's like a flapper or something in your toilet, maybe it only does it occasionally and you're not in there when it happens.
Just runs longer.
But it will, that will add up really fast. And people
Yeah,
don't
it will.
realize how fast it does add up. Maybe we do we start like a book? Like we have a book for like work orders and stuff like that. Do we make some kind of formal application where they have to apply for forgiveness, and that way we've got something in writing saying, this is what happened, it was forgiven this date, it was approved by
Yes.
this person, here's the
At this
adjustment
address.
amount. That way, if you ever had to go back and look,
I think it needs
It's
to be
in one
written down
spot.
and documented. That way
Yes,
you'll,
1, 2,
everybody will
3
know.
Apple
Then
Street
everybody
Drive,
will know for sure.
forgiveness, June 4th.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because see, in the old water system, the notes were pretty good. I mean, there is a section for it in the new system. It's not as obvious as in the old system. So like in the old system, they'd just put a date and a note. They'd say, we adjusted the meter or the read, or we forgave this amount. But maybe if we actually make them fill something out, that way, if they come back in and go, hey, I want forgiveness, you can show them, hey, no, look, 8 months ago, you were here and you chose to use your once a year. Sometimes they don't believe you when you tell them they've had it recently. They'll argue with you and say, no, it's been 3 years. No, it hasn't.
I think it needs to be documented, and, but something that happens that's beyond the customer's control, and I'm talking about something that happens between the water meter and the house, a tree root or a service truck goes off the road and drives over top of them, I mean, that type of stuff there is beyond the customer's control.
Well, now,
I hope that's not my car.
for years,
I was told you only got one adjustment per house. That's not every year. That was just one time. Now, that's the way it was at the other town hall. Now, whether it's in this here,
It's not.
We don't have anything.
It's not
not-
nothing in writing.
but
Nothing in
I
here.
know before, down there, because there was several that wanted more than one adjustment, and they never would do it.
That's why I think we need to have it in writing, and I think,
Right.
I mean, I would be willing to say one time a year.
Yes.
I mean, the chances are, we don't have that many people that come in 2 or 3 times a year wanting one, do we, Ryan?
No, it's not that.
I mean, so,
It's not.
It's the ones that know that they can.
yeah.
I mean,
So,
who are we
one-
kidding
I
here?
think
If they
an
know they
adjustment-
can come get a free months or whatever,
Right, yeah.
they're going to do what they
But I
got.
think a one time a year, for something that's in the home, I mean, if it happens between the meter and the house, like you said, a lightning strike or a tree root or a truck turns around in their yard and breaks the pipe or whatever, that's something that's totally beyond their control.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree, and, like I say, we need to have it in here, so you need to
And I
adopt a
remember
resolution.
years ago, I don't know, 10 years ago, I had an act of God issue. My bill was high. Knew I had a leak, and couldn't find it. So until we got some rain and the soil got a little moisture in it, couldn't find it.
Because it wasn't showing up.
It wasn't
Then we got some
enough.
rain, and one day, I was like, there it is, I found it. And the council was kind enough that I got the 50%, forgiveness on that.
I remember too, we had somebody here not too long ago, that wasn't, they did their own haste to mow a root or a tree uprooted or something and broke the
Yeah.
customer's line and things like that.
I had a leak one time at my house before I got on the council in the mid-90s or late 90s. And I had to get a fella out there that injects, is it nitrogen or something in the water line? And he listens for, that's how
Really?
he, yes, ma'am. That's how he found that leak.
Well, I wish I knew.
There is a service that can find a leak for you if you got a leak.
Leak detection.
I can't remember what it cost back then, but, and like I say, Lord, that's been 30 years ago.
Wow.
But yeah, he injected, I believe it was nitrogen, I believe is what he,
I mean, my lines are, Curtis
Did he-
put them deep. They were
got
deep,
these
which is
earphones
good and
on?
bad because it took so long because they were 4 foot deep for it to be able to.
So do we want to
Fill a hole.
go ahead and ask
Um,
them to write something up to have a one time a year in the house?
Yes.
And so then if it's an act of God, like with their, between the meter and the house.
Not just because they turn on a water spigot.
Yeah.
Well,
If it's between the meter and the
Leave it
house.
on.
Yeah,
No.
so like Benitez that came in a few weeks ago where his tree roots grew through his and used.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an act of
So
God.
we're going to call that 100% forgiveness on that? Minus their average, maybe?
I would say it would be the forgiveness of the whatever's above their average bill.
So again,
I mean,
take their
because that's
6 month
something they can't
average and
control.
forgive
I mean,
all of it?
But are people
Well-
going to go, oh, I had a tree root that did it. It wasn't really that my kid.
well, number one, I think we're going to have requiring this ordinance or this rule that they need to bring in proof of where they fixed it.
Yeah, I think they're going to have some
They
kind
need
of
to have,
documentation.
they need to have a documentation of where it was repaired. Either if you repair it yourself, then come in and show that you bought 2 fittings at Pierson Supply and this is how I fixed it.
And you
Or
know
if
what?
you have a
Well,
plumber,
I mean,
then
if
you
you're
can bring
digging it
in.
up, you could take a picture of it.
yeah, everybody's got a cell phone, now they can take a
Yeah,
picture
they
of it.
need to document the actual, they need to document the fact that they repaired it.
Yeah.
Either they do it themselves by photo, or if it's the plumber comes out and fixes it, then they have a bill.
Document
Right.
the break or what.
Okay.
Document the break and the repair.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with a
But do
6-month
we-
average you think is a good,
Are we just gonna go with the average then and not the half? What y'all think?
Well, I think if it's a break that's out between the meter and the house,
Just should go with the.
go with the average. If it's something to do with a water leak in their house and they've just been negligent about fixing it, then we might want to go with 50%
Right,
on that
Yeah.
one-time forgiveness.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep,
so still take the average out of the one-time annual and
If it's
then
in the
forgive
house.
half of the remainder?
right.
Yeah, if it's an in-house
Okay.
break, that they should be aware of.
Got it.
I mean, I want to be fair with everybody, but
Yes.
on the same token, they need to take, if they
Correct.
got a leak in their house, they need to be responsible and
Right.
fix it.
Correct.
Okay, so
Thank you.
the other thing that I think we talked about the other night that might have been the reason we called for a workshop, backflow.
Right.
Everybody has a backflow. Our understanding is the commercial ones, if you read, let me find it real quick.
Yep, I saw that. Just a minute. Residential, commercial.
There's a section in here about backflows somewhere.
Yeah, right here.
It says, the
Section
customer is responsible for installing and maintaining the line from the meter to their residence or business. A backflow valve is required to be installed at the meter, and the customer is required to pay for the valve and its maintenance. Okay, well, we have not historically done that. The town just, like, we just did it when the freeze happened. We went out and replaced a bunch of backflows. So
That was commercial backflows. We didn't replace any residential backflows, did we?
there were a few residential ones, I think, that leaked or something.
really?
I don't know that they replaced them. I don't know if one of them we ordered a packing kit for to try to just repair the internals of it. But we still, do we follow that? I mean, if that's the case, then anytime we do a new install, which we do charge $220 for hookup fee, that's for the meter and all that stuff, but when you think about it, the new meters are very expensive.
Yes,
Even the current ones that we use now are $200 a piece.
Right.
So you're talking $200 plus the blue poly that we buy to do a tap and all that stuff, plus a backflow device. I don't think $220 probably is even cutting it at this point.
I think we need to at least charge them for the actual costs. If you don't want to make money on actually just putting the
Just
meter
actual
itself
cost,
in, then,
yeah.
Well,
I don't think we ought to do it for less than what we're paying for it.
No.
Right.
no, correct.
So
So-
then that's part of our water fees that we look at every year. So in other words, every year you need to look at your materials and go, hey, this year we're charging X amount for hookups because it's going to change, you know.
Right now, a new hookup for the town is what, $225?
220.
$220.
But how much, do we know how much a backflow is?
Back,
Do the boys still put them in when we hook people up?
when they get tore up, they usually just repair them, put a new one in its place.
So that 220, that should cover the meter box, the meter, the backflow device, and the blue poly.
That won't
Correct.
cover it.
Well, it doesn't, but I'm saying it should.
Well, this was.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
whatever.
However many years ago it made that
What we
back
need
then.
to do,
See, let me tell you where the discrepancy is, and I'm not saying we have to charge this much, but like if you look up like DeLand's ordinances, it's like $700 to install a new meter. And I'm sure they factor in time,
Right.
all that stuff, which our time is what it is. I mean, public works is public works, but DeLand is making sure they cover the cost of all the materials.
right.
Well, I think we ought to cover the cost of the materials for sure.
Like Brandy said, this was written in 30
Yeah.
years ago, and it's
Yeah.
never been raised.
updated.
Yeah. It needs to be
Marcy, do you
updated.
know how much a backflow is?
They used to be $18 this residential. Now, I never knew what the
Commercial.
commercial one was because
The commercial ones are very expensive. We
But
just had 13 of them
they're pretty
replaced.
expensive too.
We,
Yeah.
because I don't remember, I don't have that paperwork with me, but we.
So maybe we need to look up the paperwork and see how much we're charging and then go back with a price, come back with a price here?
Or say,
I'll add all that up and we'll bring that back. Yeah.
at current,
Rates. It's
right,
cost of
for-
living rates. I mean, cost of
But I
living
mean,
goes up every
current
year. I
cost.
But
mean,
here's the thing,
Current cost.
I think if you did it once a year, the price of a meter and stuff is not gonna change drastically in a year.
right,
But we should still look at it as part of our
Annually.
overall water rates every year, because,
Yep.
you know, number one, as those smart meters get more popular, they may actually go down a little bit in price rather than up. I mean, who knows? But we should still look at it. So that brings me to my next question. Commercial backflows. We just replaced 13 of them. Remember, y'all approved the quote, it was like $7,000 and some change.
Right, yep.
And this ordinance basically said, and I gotta find it again because there was something in here about a repair on backflows.
Well, the commercial, it says with 3/4 inch meters, it's 220. It's the same as the residential.
Maintenance.
With meters larger than 3/4 of an inch, hookup fees. They're all the hookup fees are looking to me like they're at $220. Under hookup fees, that's 14-25.
Yes.
And I think that verbiage needs to be changed. I don't know why we couldn't put in there current cost. I mean,
right.
That's
why do
what
you have
we
to
need.
put,
Instead-
why do you have to put an exact amount?
Right.
Because that cost is gonna vary. It may jump up in 6 months. You never know.
Yeah.
Could we do that, Ryan? What do you think?
That would be a Scott question. So, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't
That
put
would,
actual
Yeah.
I
cost.
mean, that would be my
that would take care
recommendation,
of
that we will install these meters.
could we put like
But here's the thing.
at
At our
cost, not exceeding blank amount of money?
Yeah, maybe, but here's my concern. Like Lewis calls and orders 20 boxes and 20 meters at one time, and they put them in storage. Are we going, if we bought them 6 months ago, what was the price 6 months ago? Now you got to keep track of how much was that exact meter when we bought it. To me, it would just be easier to just say, this is the hookup fee for this year. And next year, we'll up it if we have to up
We can
it.
change it annually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think the material, and I just know this from experience with my dad's company, things like pipe and stuff like that, it fluctuates, but it doesn't fluctuate.
right.
Like 2-inch pipe has been within 40 or 50 cents a square foot for 10 years, even when gas prices change and whatever. So I don't think you're gonna, I don't think it's gonna
adjust
change
that.
so much in a year that you're gonna lose. And how many meters do you install in a year?
I mean, we could adjust.
You know what I
that
mean, like new
annually if we
meters?
needed to. I mean,
So I would say adjust it annually is,
But
to
we can
me,
do that, too.
adequate. I mean,
We can do
you
that.
figure we've been doing it all this time and not adjusting it, so annually is better than,
Well, couldn't we
Once
look
every
at
20
this,
years.
adjusting this when we adjust the water rates?
that's what I'm
We
saying.
need to
It's,
do at
it's
the
all
same
part of that
time?
schedule.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
hookup, the deposit, it's all on that sheet. So every year when we renew a resolution, that needs to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I would just bring it to you guys and say, here's the cost now.
but as the way these things read right now, if we were gonna adjust it, we could adjust it to whatever it costs us
Yeah.
right now, and then,
Yeah, I thought that's what he was gonna look at.
yeah, and then next,
Yeah.
and then annually next year, or whenever the
Right.
appropriate time, we readjust it based on the cost of the meters.
Somewhere in here, I read about the backflows that a commercial entity, it said something about the commercial entity, they would pay for the cost of the repair only or something like that, but we have to decide if that's how we want to do that or not. Let's see if I can find it. Actually, it's easier for me to search it online than it is to look it up in here.
This one set, well, 1426 says that the backflow valve, of course, this is residential,
Yeah.
is required to be installed at the meter and the customer is required to pay for the valve and its maintenance.
Right.
I think the same thing needs to be for a commercial,
commercial too.
if it's,
But
Okay, so
14.7 million.
there's a separate section of our code that I didn't realize I didn't print out. This is chapter 14. So chapter 12 in the general health and sanitation ordinance, there's one about municipal water quality and safety. That one says backflow prevention. The water service connection of any customer that is deemed to constitute a hazard to the water supply shall cause the customer at their own expense to install, operate, and maintain an approved backflow prevention device. The backflow prevention device must be installed and approved by the town at the time that an industrial or commercial consumer user connects to the public water supply. All industrial and commercial customers who are connected to the town of Pierson water system shall have a backflow prevention device installed and tested once per year by the town of Pierson, and the customer shall bear only the actual cost of the installation of the device. So, in other words, Pierson supplied the devices and the customer paid to have them installed, which is the labor. So that was what I was going to do with this most recent one, all the commercial backflows. We had 13 of them done. The labor was like $2,500. I was just going to divide it by 13 and send them all an invoice for whatever it is.
There you go.
But the way that it works in places like Ormond is if you're a commercial business, you have to reach out once a year to a certified licensed person, have the backflow inspected at your expense, make sure it's working, and if not, you have to make repairs to it. And then you have to send Ormond's water department a form showing that it's been certified. So in other words, the town wouldn't pay to do that, the customer would pay to do that.
we've never required them to do anything.
No, and, well, but see, I guess biometrics, I guess Carlos used to certify stuff for the town.
Yeah, he
Right.
used to certify them.
Yeah.
Make-
Because,
Yeah, but we have never had them do it once a year.
but I guarantee you
Yeah,
that
I think
Deborah Knight would
biometric, if you look
have a
back,
question about that.
he's supposed to have been doing it once a year, just a commercial one.
I thought that was in the report that we send to Deborah Knight. That's not part of that?
No, I think it is. I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
think it is
supposed to
too.
do
But I
that.
think they kind of,
That doesn't mean they've been doing it, but they
Right.
were supposed to be doing it.
Right.
But I guess my question is, do we keep paying the cost to have all those certified, or do we make the business owners certify them? The boys would have to tell me how many commercial devices there are. I know we just replaced 13, but I couldn't tell you how many total commercial.
So
backflows.
only the commercial pays for it, but not the residential?
The residential ones are like buried underground. I don't even know that they certify the residential ones.
they don't.
Yeah, all the commercial ones are up.
They're like up above ground.
Yeah.
But
And
now,
why is that?
It's probably so they can
So
look
they
at
can check-
them and
so they can
inspect
check
them and
them.
certify
Okay.
them without
Right,
having to
right,
dig them up.
Right.
Because as long as this water system's been in, I don't think we've ever had any of them freeze and bust like this, like we did this winter.
I can't remember.
I mean, and I could be wrong about that, but I
you'd
don't
have
know.
one that messes up once in a
Yeah,
while.
but not like where they all get hit at
Now-
one time.
The residential backflows, every once in a while, one of them will get a hole in the metal. For some reason, we've replaced several because they, and you know, like the water pressure
All right.
burn a hole in them, and we have to replace them. But you might have that once in a while in the PVC. You don't usually have it in the backflow itself, but we have had several of them.
I'm going to call Lewis and ask him if he knows how much a residential backflow is, if we've bought any lately.
He can tell you.
Ask
Hey,
commercial
have we
too.
bought any
But
residential
the
backflows
people that
recently?
made an effort to protect those backflow preventers.
Yeah, like the ones that go in houses.
Almost all of them didn't have an issue. It was the ones that were just standing
Just
there wide
standing
open. with
Well,
their
like if you're going to go out and install a
Well, now,
3/4 inch
insulation or
meter
nothing
in someone's house, you
They-
have backflow in
The
it.
one at Town Hall had insulation around it
And
at
it's
one
still,
time. I don't know if it's still
yeah,
A check valve,
The
how
old
much do
town
they
hall.
usually
yeah, the
run?
bank or the
the bank.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay. All right, just checking. All right, thanks. Oh, okay, thanks. All right, bye. He said they don't even call the residential ones a backflow, it's just a check valve that they put in. But he said he can't tell you what the price is because he hasn't priced one in a while. So I'm sure there's on an invoice, a Ferguson invoice in there somewhere. So in other words, that would be included in that price that you're charging residents is for a hookup, basically. But now if the boys go out and replace a backflow, if we find out a backflow is leaking, do we charge that to the homeowner? Or should we charge that to the homeowner?
Well, from the backflow on belongs to the homeowner
Right,
because they bought the backflow.
right, as part of.
Everybody
Right,
years ago paid like $18 a piece
right.
for their backflow.
So in other
The
words,
town owned the meters.
so if we have to replace one, they should really be paying.
The backflow preventer is between the meter and the house, right?
Right.
I mean, it's on the house side.
Everything
Yes, on the
from the
house.
meter
If it's
back.
on the other, if it's on the house side of the meter and it needs to be replaced, I think that the customer ought to take care of that. I mean, it's,
Well, how about I look up how some of the other cities do the commercial ones? Because like I said, I know they make the commercial businesses certify them once a year and send a report in. And then you would have to, we really need to keep a list of every commercial backflow we've got. And make sure every year on that list it gets checked off, because let me tell you something, Orman, they have a date. And they would send you out an email and it was like, if you don't have this by this date, we can cut your water off. And they weren't playing around about it because, I mean, they hounded us because we were late. We had to hire, you had to hire a certified person. So we called around. Well, it was like everybody that was certified to do that was swamped in Orman because everybody tried to get theirs done all at one time. So they were like, hey, we're like 4 weeks out. But we definitely had to pay for it. And then the building that I worked in, theirs was leaking or there was a part in it that was froze up or something, and we had to pay to get that repaired. The people that certified it, it was like Dynafire or one of those companies, they did the repair too. But we got a, $700 and something invoice because we had to fix it and certify it. So, but I don't know who, like in other words, we just paid to replace a bunch of them. I don't know if the cities initially put them in and then it's the business's job to pay for just the certification and the upkeep, or if one goes out completely, does...
I would say that the customer would pay to have it installed the same way they would pay to have the meter hookup and everything else. I mean,
So in other words, a commercial new install here, their hookup fees would be way higher than the $220.
it should be,
they'd be
because
covering
it's
the
a
commercial
more,
backflow
it's a more costly install, a lot more costly.
Well, the meter's bigger, that for one.
The meter and plus it has to have a commercial backflow on it.
So did any of these commercial entities in town, when their pipes froze recently, did any of them come in asking for forgiveness or credit or anything on any of those breaks?
No, I don't think we had any commercial people. The only person that had a commercial meter, and it hasn't been recently, was Senor Peppers. They had a line break behind their building, and it flooded like that parking area behind their building. And they asked for forgiveness, but recently with the freeze, I don't think so. And I don't think that any of them had real bad leaks. It was just the boys went around and checked, and the backflow was leaking. And that was what prompted us
I know
to
there
do
were a couple up here by the old smokehouse that were spewing water
Yeah.
pretty bad that morning.
Wasn't the one that Curtis's old packing shed, it was just dripping water.
It was just dripping.
But also, I mean,
I saw a couple of them that were leaking.
I guess none of them thought to wrap them with something or try to insulate them or leave a hose crack.
See, so that's another question. If you don't do your due diligence to protect your property, is it our fault?
Well, they
I don't
might
think
if
it's
they.
our fault because the water, that backflow prevention device is going to be paid for by the customer.
Right, that was my point. If they know they paid for that and they know they got to pay to replace it if it's broke, they might do their due diligence in the future and take care of it.
But
Or
everyone
some
that I
businesses
saw
may just write a check
was-
for the $1,000 and pay for a backflow, but I mean, it would be on them.
Yeah, well, I made sure that I had water running on all of our properties,
Yes.
And except.
We had it running here.
Except my liquid tank, I always keep water in it. I forgot to drain my liquid tank, and I always backflow when I put out chemicals or to get, wash it all out and have fresh water in there. That freeze split that pump of mine on my liquid tank. And a valve, a brass valve, it split it.
Yeah.
And that little bill was $845, and the co-op didn't forgive me, so I had to make it.
All right.
Well, there you go.
$845.
But
I couldn't believe it split that pump, from on the top of it all the way around.
I think if the commercial person realizes they're gonna have to be responsible for replacing that meter if it busts due to a freeze,
Yeah.
maybe they'll take the
They'll take-
tank.
Yeah.
Well, and I,
Their meter's under the ground.
but we
Yeah.
didn't do this
I'm
the
talking
last
about
couple of
back
years, so I mean,
Right.
this was sort of an unusual,
Yes, it was.
it doesn't
was.
happen that often.
No, it's a
that
very
They would have to worry about it
freeze
every year, you know.
I think it's the first time ever we've had stuff like that happen.
I've never seen wind blow that hard in the cold front.
No.
Now, I've had it blow the ice off my steel furnace one winter. It was blowing pretty doggone hard. I iced my top up first, and I was sitting out there on Van Oak Road, just watching, and man, that wind would blow, and the whole sheets of ice would just blow.
Oh, God.
All the way across the road into Lars's tree fern patch. I saw that with my own eyes.
All right, so
Yeah, they-
I'll do some math and we'll try to calculate what hookup fees should be currently for residential and commercial. And then I'll bring it back here, and then I guess technically we can update them now if we want to. They may get an adjustment again in January, or we could just leave it, and like I said, we don't do a lot of new installs.
No.
And it's gonna take time to do an ordinance, you'll have to have 2 reads and all that stuff, so I mean, by the time we do that, we're gonna be in the summer, so maybe we just readdress that in January, but knowing that that's coming. Or we can do it now, it's up to y'all. But,
Something else caught my eye, section 14-9, paragraph E. The town council may waive the requirements of this section to connect to the water distribution main upon a showing by the owner that the application of such requirements would, owing to special conditions, relate to the land, structure, building, or use involved, and not to the owner himself, impose an unnecessary or undue burden.
That's talking about just a connection though, right?
yeah, in other words, if a homeowner came in here and said, I don't want town water, I've got a well, but you would have to prove to us, okay, well, how does that create some kind of an unnecessary or undue burden to have you hook up to the water supply?
Well, somewhere's in something, it was said every
This one,
resident
yeah, this one does.
must hook up to the water. That don't mean they have to use it,
Right.
but they have to have a meter and pay the minimum
Right.
price.
Right.
All this does
And
is,
that's been $15 since the beginning.
What's
Right.
that?
I
The
paid
minimum?
$15 for,
No, the minimum's the 2075.
I don't know,
It's
probably.
27,
$20.75.
$20.75.
It used to be, the last, before that, it was $17.66, including taxes.
I got you.
Now
It was
it's
15,
$20.75.
it was 15 until 2021.
Then it went to
Then it
$17.
went to 1766, and then the ones we just passed this past year, it went to 2075.
$20.75.
And that's your basic, whether you use it or not, that is
Right.
what they call an availability fee, meaning there's water there.
Right, if you,
I can use it if I need it.
But I would say that this would pertain, especially nowadays, would be if somebody annexed into the town or whatever, and it just says that the council may waive the requirements.
Yeah,
I
may
mean, that's just,
They would have to approve that it
it would have to be,
was a burden
I
somehow.
mean, they can't just automatically not hook up. It's something that would have to
So,
come before the council and all that.
Here's my other question, and this probably won't be a popular question, but over the years, we have people come in here, they have a property, they have a house, I can think of one right now, they don't live in the house, $20.75 a month, $20.75 a month, late fees, they end up with a $15,000 bill. They come in here and they go, can you please just forgive this? I don't live there. And the council forgave it, and then they turn around and sell the house. In other words, they're trying to get out of paying that $15,000
Right.
lien, which it's essentially a lien.
It's a lien,
because
right, yeah.
when someone sells their property, we get an email or a phone call that says, hey, are there any outstanding utilities? And that comes out of their closing.
Well, I know of 2 houses right now that aren't paying any water
Yeah,
bill.
so that's what I'm saying. Do we do that? Because
No, I don't think so.
now I think after 3 months of non-payment, we shut them off. But their monthly availability fee still keeps racking up because it's
Right.
available to you. It's not our fault you're not paying it. But that's how that works because, you know, and that, I don't think that's been applied evenly.
I can remember,
Over the-
it has not
No,
been
it has
applied
not.
equally. I can remember a property that was on East Washington that owed a lot of money on a water bill because the water bill had been, they were operating on a well.
Right.
The previous owner, the water bill kept being mailed to them. And then when they got ready to sell the property, they was like $15,000 or $18,000 owed. And I think the council back at that time settled for 50% of what they owed them or something along those lines. But I can also remember people that owed a significant more money than that it was just forgiven and water meters have been taken out and they don't pay a penny.
Right. There's
But
a
the
few,
houses are still.
there's a few houses in town that they just completely removed the meter, so they're not paying anything. And I do know that one of the houses that we forgave, that had like a $15,000 thing, we forgave that, and then once they had a zero balance, they started paying the monthly charge again. So it was like, they just wanted us to forgive them so they could start out at zero, and then they started paying the $20.
They started paying the minimum water bill.
I hope they don't.
So it wasn't that they weren't going to pay it, it's just they didn't want to pay all of it. They just wanted to start over and wipe the slate clean.
Well,
So,
there was a bunch of that down there in Stedman that they didn't want to pay.
mhm. Well, I mean, it's technically already in here that they're supposed to be doing that. I'm just saying we don't always apply that evenly among,
I think that if
But
we have,
everything
I think if we have
in Stedman
a rule
has a
that it
meter.
needs to be
Needs to be
applied
applied to everyone.
evenly and equally to every
Everyone.
person.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that's the only fair way that's the only way you can do it. I mean,
And stop picking and choosing.
no, you
Yeah.
can't do that.
No.
Well,
You
we
cannot,
do.
I
We
know that,
have.
we have, that's
do.
been done in the past. I'm not denying that. I don't think this current council has
Well,
done
this
that.
current council has overlooked a couple things too, on some permits of people. Yes, we have.
Maybe, I don't recall.
Yes, I mean, we're just as guilty.
But
I'm just
all I'm
saying,
saying
we
is,
need to start.
It needs to be
applying
applied
it to
equally and
everybody.
fairly to everybody,
Correct.
however that works out.
yeah,
If it's gonna cost me $100, it needs to cost the other guy $100.
Correct.
Just let me tell you
And if it's gonna cost the other
something.
guy 100, it needs to cost me the same.
Let me tell you something that I wasn't aware of, because I talked to Mike Navarra at Universal, because, you know, last year we raised our permit fees because we were spending way more on Universal than we were taking in. Okay, well, that's back like this again. We've spent 20 grand at Universal, we've only taken in 10 for permits, and I asked Mike, why is that? And he said, well, Sam's driving around town and he's red tagging stuff that's not permitted, and I said, okay. But that's costing us a lot of money. It's costing us a lot of extra administrative charges. And he said, well, when Sam catches somebody, you're supposed to be charging them double permit fees. That is the penalty that you get if you get caught doing something without a permit. Now, not only do you have to pay a permit, you got to pay double the fee. And I said, but the thing is, he's red tagged a lot of these people, and then they just don't come in. They just,
Yeah, I mean,
they
how
still
do we
just
know
keep
that they
doing.
red tags them? How
Yeah.
do they send us
Well,
a report?
they send us something. But then people just lie and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to finish building it, or I'm not going to, you know what I mean? We've had several of those. But that is what the punishment is supposed to be for people that get caught working without a permit, is double permit fees. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, it pays to just go ahead and do it the legal way. Otherwise, you're going to pay twice, basically. So, anyway. But yes, you're right. I know of a couple that I know you're talking about. So I'll look at every resident has to have a backflow. We'll include it in the price that they pay for a hookup fee. And then I'll look at other cities, particularly smaller cities, how they handle the commercial. Do they make the commercial entity pay for it up front, and then if it fails, do they have to replace it? Or do we replace it and then bill them, which is what we probably should have done with these 13, but, it probably would have been like $2,000 a business, or, $1,500 a business to do that, so. But I'll look into that, and then I'll bring that back to you guys.
And it says under section 1421 that delinquent accounts do indeed become a lien on the property.
Right.
Well, that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, technically it is, because if
My
if
question
a
is-
property goes through a sale, a title company or whoever will reach out to us and ask. They always ask you, are there liens? Are there past due utilities? Are there open code enforcement complaints?
Sometimes it's like by owner, and they call after the fact, and I'm like, there's a big bill on here that's got to be paid.
Well, we'll have to ask Scott how to handle those.
So under section 1428, payment of fees and bills is required. Y'all scan that and see what you think there.
Well, I mean, is there one that you think there's a problem with? Because I didn't
No,
scan
I
all of
just,
this.
yeah. Want to make sure everybody's looked at it. Because like shut-offs have been all over the board too. Sometimes they'll wait 30 days, sometimes they give them 90. I mean, it's just all over the board.
Well, we do shut-offs after 90. So this says 30.
This says 30
This says
days.
So we
30.
have to decide, do we want to do it 30 or do we want to do it 90?
90. Some people only pay their bills a couple times. I mean, don't you have some that pay 2 or 3 months at a time, or just put $100 bill on here and?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know how many would be on it if we did the 30?
Yeah.
I mean, they still
If we take all 3 boys,
get charged late fees after 30 days,
Right.
but we don't actually shut the water off till after
90.
90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that should be in here.
I think
And then the way
90
that
day
it-
shut-off should be in
The
there.
way that it works is they have to pay the full balance, including the late fees, to get it turned back on, and then they get charged a $25 reconnect fee, which is in here.
well, we never did the reconnect fee.
We have them a few. Remember, Sexton came in here and yelled at me that time about,
That was disconnect fees. I've
Oh.
always did a disconnect.
well, whether we call it disconnect or reconnect, it's $25 if we have to shut someone's water off.
And it says reconnect fee of $25.
Yeah.
So are we not supposed to do disconnect fees and just reconnect fees?
Like I said, I don't think it matters if you call it disconnect or reconnect. If we
It's
turn
the
your
same
water off, you're
connect.
getting charged a $25 fee.
They're getting charged $25 to get it turned back on.
Right.
We're turning it off because we don't want them using no
No,
more.
I would say just-
Because they ain't paying for it.
I would say just the one-time $25.
Yeah,
I-
Probably does both.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
they
think
might.
the $25 one-time thing.
Charge you when they come out.
So are we going to the 90 days?
We need to change it.
We should.
section.
Yep, change it to 90 days.
Yeah, non-payment within 90 days will result in water being cut off.
And then it says 6 months from the due date shall become a lien on the property.
There you go, 90 more days after that, if they haven't paid it, slap a lien on it.
And I think there should be something in here that bill needs to be paid in full before that water's turned back on.
Yes, because historically,
Historically, they
Make
let them, we
deals
put them
with-
on a monthly payment plan and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and, and you never catch back up.
no, Carmen used to let that Troy McGann, he'd owe $380 and give her some sob story. Well, bring me $50 today. And no.
Okay, now, here's another one, 14-28, section A1, where it says non-payment of any bill within 30 days from its due date will be subject to a penalty in the amount of 10% of said bill, plus a penalty of 1.5% of the unpaid monthly balance until all past due charges have been paid fully. Is 10% across the board. The way our software calculates it, if you're 3 months behind, you're getting charged 10% on the first month, the second month, the third month. So in other words, in fact, you're getting charged 10% on top of your late fees. So if you got a $9 late fee last month, this month you're getting charged 10% of that $9 late fee too. It compounds as the thing increases. So I say we take that out and just say 10% of your total balance, total unpaid balance owed.
Yes.
Take the
Right.
1.5% out and just
Yes.
leave. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with that 100%.
So what happens if they sell a house and then move to another house and then we have limits? Do you have to pay the shut-off fee and then the reconnect fee and then how does that work?
The way it works right now is if their account is in good standing, we can just move their account from one house to another. So in other words, if they already have a deposit on file with us, it would just transfer to the new address.
So what happens if you get those new meters
Mhm.
and the new meter is on the house that they just sold?
Mhm.
Does that meter go with them?
No, each meter number is assigned to an address.
Okay.
So when you move their service, they get that house's meter. Yeah. I mean, service-wise, it's the same.
Yeah.
You're just changing out the meter number and
The way it is now, if you have the old meters that are read manually, then if they move from house A to house B, their water consumption would start at whatever the last reading was, or the reading when they moved in.
Right. And it asks you that, like in our water software, when you do a move out, it wants to know what the final read was for that account, and then what the starting read is at the new place if they move, so that it doesn't miss out on. But yeah, so that's the other thing. Speaking of new meters, those meters are also supposed to have a backflow error detection in them. So if the meter sees water going the opposite direction, it's supposed to let us know, which is good because then
You don't want to be contaminating our city water system with something that's flowing backwards.
So I'm hoping that trial goes well and we can get some money to replace them, because I feel like that'll alleviate a lot of the guesswork that we do.
I believe it'll eliminate close to 100% of it. It might not be 100%.
I hope
but
so.
it's gonna
I mean, I know
eliminate a lot.
even if they're not 100%, it's got to be better than the way we're doing it.
I agree.
Yes, and we've been having some billing issues, right?
Yes.
Every month.
But here's the thing, you have billing issues, and like I was saying at the meeting the other night, okay, they read the meters around the 17th, 18th. We don't do the bills till the 22nd.
Right.
Then they get mailed out, and then someone comes in on the 5th or 6th and goes, hey, something's wrong with my water bill. Well, 3 weeks have passed since we read the meter. You send the public works guy back out, of course their read's going to be different.
Right,
We
yeah.
don't know what it was 3 weeks ago. The only way to know that would be to take a picture at every meter, which they're not going to do. So, and then inevitably what happens is if reads are wrong, because each guy has a route, so then it's okay, well, this person came in with a billing problem. Oh, it's on Lewis's book. Call Lewis. What are you doing? Can you go reread this meter? Well, then Lewis either has to drop what he's doing to go over there, or, you know what I mean? Or you got to wait 2 hours for him to get time to go over there.
And this eliminates all of that.
Yeah.
And it even eliminates putting it in the system, because it
It should download
talks to B
automatically.
and it automatically
Right.
loads, so there's no human
Right.
error in typing it in.
Right.
We don't have to do the books. The boys don't have to spend a half a day or
Right.
3/4 of a day running around reading meters.
And and here's the thing. Every month you may get a list of 6 or 7 meters that say, hey, this meter didn't send a
that you have to
reading, and you got to go out and check it. But them checking 7 meters in one day is still way less time than them reading 220 meters apiece or whatever they
Right.
are. So I just feel like maybe it would free up
A
some
lot.
time.
Yeah. 'cause
And
I
in the
know
summer,
we've
that's very important to free up some time.
had some major errors, and my big concern is this. People that auto deduct, they don't see their bill, it just
Right.
automatically drops, right?
Correct.
We're deducting $2,500 when their bill should be
How about
$25.
How about 39,000?
Yeah, I knew it was
We
wrong.
had a $39,000 mistake this last month.
Entering.
Wow.
An auto deduct.
Yeah.
Well, if you did an auto deduct on my count of 39,000.
You gonna be.
But here's the thing, this was a commercial account, so they probably did have it, but it still would have been a nightmare because you would have had to have issued a refund and, all that stuff.
And think about this. So that happens. They've got other checks out there too, right? And they go to bouncing checks. Who the hell are they coming to for the mistake? They're coming to us.
Well, but I will tell you, even
Well, that's what I
getting-
said. Hopefully these 10 show us that this system can eliminate a whole bunch of problems that we're having with the water system.
Well, I mean, here's another thing I'll tell you. Well, first,
And updating it.
let me go back to the billing. Okay,
to
so
somewhat degree.
you will still have to review the invoices every month to make sure that no calculations went haywire.
Correct.
Because software sometimes are,
Right.
you know what I mean? So you still have to review every bill just to be sure, just to do your due diligence. But the other thing I will tell you about these meters, and I think he mentioned it the other night, they are accurate to .01 gallons. So he said in 70% of the cases, bills go up. But then what we, I think, do is we take this time to look at the 10 pilot meters and compare it to the old reads, because we just talked about how we round up to the nearest 1,000 gallons. If you have a meter that exact, we may pass something where you just charge them the actual
Charge
gallons
them for the
used.
amount of water they actually use.
Right.
And so then you're charging them cents per gallon and not $6 per thousand or what, you know what I mean? So that may be an opportunity where you're able to actually say, hey, their bills would be similar if we went to charging them per gallon instead of per 1,000 gallons. But that's the point of the pilot, is for you to get an idea of how inaccurate are your meters really.
Right.
Well, all the old meters, and there's a lot of old meters
Well,
out there still.
so here's my thought. When we pick the 10 pilot people, pick someone with a newer meter, pick someone with an ancient meter,
Pick somebody
someone who
underwater.
never uses any to make sure that there's no,
Right.
Yeah.
pick someone that uses a ton, pick a problem account that comes up here constantly and complains about their water, you know what I mean? Like, you want the
Yes.
full spectrum.
Strategically place
Yeah.
them.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to just put them all on one street.
Yeah.
Spread out.
Sixth Avenue over there, there's 2 or 3 of them meters over there is always that way. When we get rain, they underwater.
Well, that's the other thing. I want to put one somewhere that they're hard to read. You know, the boys call us, and for 6 months at a time, we were having that estimating thing. And it was because they were either underwater or whatever it was. We need to put one there and see how well do these things read if they're, a foot below water.
Yeah, look at that kind of battery lasts 75 years.
Right, I was
Yeah, I
wondering
can't
the same.
believe that.
No,
I
they're,
don't know what kind of battery that is.
It's there's 3 batteries in it.
I put in my
right?
boat.
I'm gonna put my phone. I want one of them in my phone.
The meters that are underwater, if I remember correctly, he said that there's an antenna they put on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That comes
So
up to
there's-
the bottom of the
the batteries
cover,
are 20
so you can
years.
read it.
Batteries are 20 years, but he said they have had them fail at year 15 or 16, but that's why at that point, a new meter's $300, so if it fails, they'll either come replace it if it's under warranty, or you just put a new meter in. But where you're talking about 15 years, I probably won't be here to worry about it, so.
I won't.
I know I will.
I'm gonna be here. I'm not sure I'll be sitting here, but I'm gonna be here somewhere.
Well,
I'm gonna be down here going, I need her.
Yeah, same.
I'm sure planning on it.
Same.
I ain't planning on going nowhere.
But yeah, those things are sealed. I mean, the components in them, they basically seal those boxes shut. And he told me they do all their testing in-house, because what happened was Stayline partnered with the company Next that makes the meters. I guess Stayline acquired Next, so in other words, they own the company now that makes those, and so they make them and they test them in-house. But he said the testing is really interesting because they submerge them in Coca-Cola, they submerge them in salt water, they submerge them in oil, and then they run them for so many hours continuously for like months and months, and it's supposed to equal like 20 years in the field. And then they pull them apart and go, did anything get in here? Did anything corrode? So, I mean, the technology is getting better and better, but he's told me, he said, anytime you deal with water and electronics, there's going to be an issue, which is why you buy the warranty, because maybe a seal's bad on one of them.
Anything man-made can't fail.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's just something to think about in the future. We may revisit how we bill water if we go with these and they're really, really accurate. But that may eventually be a good thing for all of us, because we don't know how much we're losing either.
Right.
Because there's been meters that haven't been read in years, or maybe they haven't been read right. I mean, who knows?
And didn't he say that a lot of those mechanical meters, if it's just a small flow going through it,
Yeah, they don't
it may not
register.
even turn, even
Yeah.
though there's water going through
He
it.
said they have like a 0.25%, like it'll measure like 0.25 gallons or something like that, whereas the new ones are 0.01. So he said if you just barely trickled like a hose or something, a lot of times that thing doesn't even spin. So, you could be losing money on water. And the thing is, you're paying to treat it. I mean, we're paying, you could calculate X amount of gallons between our chlorine and power at the plant and CWS and all these things. You could come up with a per gallon price that it costs us to treat this water. So if you're losing it and you're forgiving a bunch of people, I mean, maybe you're behind a little bit. I don't know.
Speaking of water wells, have you heard back anything? I'm exasperated with that bunch.
I don't want to talk about it. It's
Okay.
not good. Their new thing now is they think lightning hit it.
Oh,
Because
shit.
It ain't lightning.
Lightning hit the
Hit what?
motherboard.
The well.
The new wells.
wells.
Yeah.
Oh,
It won't go
no.
online.
No, they're blowing smoke is what they're
Yeah,
doing.
well, they're probably trying to get out of paying for a warranty item. That's what they're probably trying to do.
Correct.
But according to Todd Bush, there's another component in it that's bad that they have to order, and they don't know how long that'll take.
Other than the original motherboard or whatever.
The original motherboard is installed, and now there's a different motherboard for something with the totalizer that it's now messed up.
Well, this is my thing. Being it ain't online and it ain't the town of Pierson's fault it's taken us 2 years to get this online, do we have to pay for this motherboard?
Well, the first one we didn't. The first one came out of contingency money that they had written into the grant or whatever, but I don't know how much that cost and how much contingency money's left. So, and
I think it's time to grab some testicles here, is what I think.
well,
Well, I'm not doing that part.
I'm tired of playing with these.
Well, I'm just
Put
saying.
them in a vice, is right.
Sir, how much did this
Well,
damn
I'm
thing
gonna
cost?
tell you, it's absolutely absurd, as long as those wells have been there with pumps on them and everything else, that they're not running.
They're not operational.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Let me tell you something else we realized when we were out there yesterday, and Jimmy knows because we talked about this yesterday. We go out there, the tank is buried underground, that holds the actual water. It's underground. It's full of water, but it's been full of water for how long? So it's gross and it's not treated. So you got to drain that out so that they can run new water in there and chlorinate it. So we're sitting there, and I told Lewis before they came, I said, they're going to be here at 10. Maybe you should go out there and you should flush all those lines and everything. Well, we can't. I said, why can't you? Well, it's all sealed off now. I said, what do you mean it's all sealed off? Well, they used to use, there's a big 6-inch 90 out there that they used to turn sideways and hook a hose to and run it out and run it. Well, now that the well's going online, they've flipped that 90 around and bolted it all into place, and now it's part of the plumbing of the well, and there is no
There still ain't no
evacuation line or
blow-off.
no blow off.
There's no blow off
No,
over
so
there?
TJ at SGS, when we said we need to empty this well, had to go find a big crescent wrench, and he's out there taking 32 bolts out of that thing so they can turn it sideways and hook it to a fire hose. I'm like, wait a second.
Good.
There's not just you can't put a T in there and have a blow off to get rid of water? Who designed this?
I was gonna say, who's the damn engineer that
So
did
then
that?
I talked to
Well, I'm
Tom
not-
at Florida Rural Water, and Tom said, what about if you have to inspect that tank? You've either got to get an underwater drone and put it in there, and he said the danger with that is there's a bunch of components inside that thing that it could hit or damage. He said, so your other option is to suit somebody up and put them in there.
Yeah.
Whereas the current well, everything's above ground, so you just go look at it. I mean, it's,
Well-
like the water tower. You climb up and open the hatch, and this one, someone's actually got to get down in if it has to be inspected. So
Well, to clean the one over at the actual well that we use now, you got a plate on the, that you can take off, and you got a big blow off
right.
below that you can turn it on and drain
Drain the tank.
Yeah, that's what Lewis said. You just turn the valve on.
This system over here, I told the guy, I was over there for a little bit with him, and I told him, I said, y'all could have put the same system we had over there. He said, no, we had to put this side because of the Board of Health or something. I said, no, I don't think so.
No.
Y'all could have put the same system in, and we'd have done been using that thing.
I didn't even know there was a tank, water tank buried under
Under the ground.
over
I
there.
didn't
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
under,
either.
it's
I
under
didn't know
that. That's where all your water's at.
Yeah.
That's
under
where you
that
got
little
That giant white screen
Yeah.
that looks like a water park or whatever.
Yeah.
It flows up out of there and flows around those things and it
Yeah.
aerates or whatever, and then it goes underground and it's treated underground and mixed in a tank before it goes out to the system.
I didn't know there was an underground.
It's all
tank over
underground.
there.
Well, Todd told us that when we went to learn how, in case we had to turn it on for the
Emergency.
Ford.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's another example of like, so here's another good example. They designed the wastewater treatment plant, Mead and Hunt did, this high-tech plant. They sent the plans to me and they said, can you send these plans to CWS and ask them if CWS were to treat your wastewater too, what would the operations cost a month, right? So I sent it to CWS and their sewer guy looked it over and he said, probably 12 to 15 grand a month. And I said, why is that? And he said, this plant is all state-of-the-art, controlled by computers. Someone's got to be there multiple hours a day to dial stuff in and look at things. He said, if this was an old school, like manual valves and whatever, we would maybe spend an hour a day there. But he said, the more high-tech these systems are, the more you have to mess with them to make sure that they're accurate and dialed in. So Mead and Hunt was mad. They were mad when I went back to them. They said, there's no way it costs that much to treat water or whatever. And I said, I'm just telling you what he told me based on the type of plant it is. So the hold up on the wastewater thing, the reason they haven't come to you to present anything yet is they went and re-engineered that to a bare bones, basic, run-of-the-mill, old-school sewer plant.
So basically what they're doing is just continuously racking up all this money, redoing all this crap that we're getting charged for.
Exactly.
I've been on council, this is my 4th year, and this
Right.
was started before I was
Yes.
here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we have done nothing.
Right. Well,
All we're doing is paying bills
Yeah.
for research and
Yeah,
redesigning.
but it's a grant, so we gotta make sure.
but I'm,
that they're
I'm
all
just
getting
letting you
their
know
money.
that that's the holdup, because after they found, because Mark Corrett told them, Pierson cannot afford 118 grand a year or whatever just to have one operator up here for a few hours a day to run that plant.
Right.
So Mead and Hunt went back and they were like, well, we'll scrap that design and we'll design just an old school. But that's what they should have done to begin with. No one asked for fancy state-of-the-art. It's a small town. We just need a plant that you can, like the old water, the wells, all that's controlled by pressure switches and valves. That's the way the new one probably should have been
How
designed.
big is, back to the wells, how big is that tank that's buried under the
I
ground?
couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I didn't even know there
I
was a
seen
tank
it.
under there.
I mean, it's pretty big if you
They
can get a
buried it
diver in
before
there.
they put all the stuff, when they first put that fence and all around there.
And then,
But like I said, 4 or 5
So
years ago is
think-
when it was
but then
done.
we talked
Buried
about,
about the same time the wells were dug, apparently.
No,
Up to that, no. Wasn't either.
About the time they put the pumps on it then, maybe?
It may be that, but not.
That was like when they
well,
first started over there, is what they did, was put all the stuff in the ground first before they
Before
started
they
all the
built on
stuff
top
on the
of it.
before
top.
they even started doing.
So-
What,
Then
that makes no sense at all, though, to me. Why in the hell would they bury?
all I can figure is,
Chlorine is not
Just a-
supposed to,
I don't know.
the
Well-
sun's not supposed to
right,
deteriorate.
so number
the
one, it's
chlorine
not
effect.
exposed to heat, but also number two, probably a safety thing, because if you can't get to it, neither can someone that wants to poison your water supply or
Right.
whatever, but-
That may be some facts in
That
that
may
too,
be,
but.
yeah.
Because I think you have to go in that
Oh,
little door or whatever to even get down into the
yeah,
thing.
there's giant, out there in the public works room, there's these giant things that like you can use to cover, there's holes cut in the cement out there where the water goes down into the tank. So like when they clean them or they service them, you're supposed to go put these giant things over them to seal it off so that you can clean it all or whatever. So, but then Tom at Florida Rural Water says, okay, well, let's say we install a valve to evacuate this thing if we have to like flush it out. Now your concern is like a swimming pool, you don't want to empty it too much because it'll pop out of the ground. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good to think about.
Well,
Oh, my
he
God.
said it very well could if you
Yeah.
pumped all that water out. It's like a swimming pool.
Yeah,
If you take all the water out of a lot of this swimming pool,
yeah, they'll just pop out.
they'll pop up out of the ground.
Yeah, 'cause if you got a high water table, they definitely pop up.
Yeah.
Because they'll float,
And
it's just like a
Over there,
cup.
that water table ain't very far under the
No,
ground.
No, it's not. No, it's
I've
not.
dug over there several times, and I wouldn't get very deep before the water was coming in.
Well, it's just like old Florida Flatwood.
Okay, so I don't have anything else on that. Do y'all have anything else you want to talk
Good.
about with the ordinances?
A cocktail.
Well, before
No,
we leave.
we need to discuss something.
Yeah, before we leave, so the town, we took $600,000 of reserves a couple years ago, we put them in CDs. CD rates at the time, we were doing 6 months at a time, rates were good, they were 4-point-something%. Now, the current one that we've got is at 1.7, and they're not gonna be any better probably for the next 6 months. So they,
What was the money?
yesterday, they matured on the 4th. So we have 10 days to do something with that. We're borrowing reserve money to pay for the new truck. We're temporarily borrowing reserve money for the trash. So I talked to Miriam at the bank, and we decided the best option is to take that whole 600,000, put it into a money market checking account that is currently earning 2.74%.
325.
325? Is it 325?
Well, now,
That's what she said today.
Oh, that's what she said? Okay, so then it changed.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because it was 2.74 when I talked to her last
I don't
week.
remember either. I was thinking. it was
So see, it's gonna
2.7.
fluctuate, but I mean, it's fluctuating in the right direction
Right.
versus, but I mean, otherwise your money's not only tied up in CDs, but for that 6 months, it's
Right.
only gonna make that interest rate,
Yeah,
so.
no, yes.
So
Yeah, but-
I told her the best thing to do would be to just go ahead, open the money market account, put our 600,000 in there, and then we'll readdress in the, near future how we want to handle that. Now, Jim Ashby said you could look at like opening something with one of the big national banks, like a Wells Fargo. He said they have like high yield savings accounts and things like that that have pretty good rates on them. So in other words, there's options besides just CDs, and then your money wouldn't be all tied up if you had to use it for something. But I think in the interim, we've decided to go ahead, that would be our best bet, is just to pull it out of the CDs, put it in an account, and, I mean, we're about to spend 54,000 of it on a truck, so.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Are we gonna pull the money for the truck out of that before?
Yeah.
And pay for the truck in cash? We should get an either better discount there, right?
No, it's state contracted is what it is.
Oh.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, we're probably gonna have to buy 2 trucks. I mean,
Well.
what was said and done.
for now, we'll try
Well,
to get
we'll
We gotta
have
replace
to
that
buy
one.
3.
But Lewis is riding around with a case of oil in the back
Oh,
of his
yeah.
truck
And just
right now.
FYI, it is 8 to 12 weeks for the bed. So they're all, I talked to Garber, which is the one we approved.
Right.
He told me he got the purchase order in today, but it's probably 8 to 12 weeks, but he would let me know. But
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I mean, Chris has been doing all right. He doesn't drive a ton. He's been reading meters on the side-by-side, and I think they're all right for now. But, so anyway, that's the game plan. Just,
So we're just gonna do the money market for 500,000? Are we pulling 100,000 out to pay for the truck?
I'm going to pull all 600 and put it in there because you can do up to 5 transactions a month.
Okay.
So realistically, we're only going to have 2. We'll have the one for the trash in April, and then we'll have the one for the truck probably, I'm going to guess, the end of March, beginning of April. So, but it's not like a CD. I mean, it's just like a checking account. You can make transactions.
Right. You know-
All your money will be in one place, so it's really 3 CDs that we're putting into one account. So,
Yeah, if we're talking about the Wells Fargo online, Marcus, Goldman Sachs, Marcus, they pay pretty good interest on just a regular savings account even, I mean.
Space Coast does too.
I mean,
Well, so
they're
the
paying.
thing about a credit union, and we talked about this a couple years ago, in Florida, credit unions couldn't be a public
Municipality.
depository.
Right.
Yep.
The governor signed a law in September 2024 that allowed credit unions to apply to handle municipal funds. Only one so far has been approved. I want to say it's Suncoast or one of
'Cause we-
those. It's down on like in Tampa
Florida
somewhere.
Credit Union
Yeah.
here a while back, they had real good interest rates.
Yeah, because Florida
They
Credit
couldn't do it,
Union
but
had a
they
good
couldn't do
rate,
it.
but they haven't applied. If they have applied, they haven't gotten approved yet.
Right.
So I keep my eye on that because a credit union would have way better rates
Oh,
than
yes.
a bank would. But that's the only thing I have to keep in mind. Wherever we move our money to, it has to be on the Florida list of approved public depositories to handle public money. Most of the big banks probably are. I'm sure all these big, counties and cities are using the giant national banks.
So our checking account is considered like a commercial business account, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure she said 325.
Okay. Well,
That makes-
it could have
I
changed.
hope it is.
I hope
It
you're
could have
right,
changed in
Lenny.
the time, but she'll let me know because I'll
Yeah,
she'll have
ask her
paperwork
tomorrow.
for me. But
Yeah.
that's all I've got about that. So
Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Yes, yes, that's what I wanted to talk about, was that.
That's good.
all right, well, I'll work on making some changes. We might also take that thing that I found in chapter 12 and move it to chapter 14 because to me all the backflow stuff should be in the water
Yes.
ordinance. I don't know why it was in multiple places. but-
Anything related with water needs to
It
be in
needs
the
to be in
same
the water
spot.
thing. Yeah. I'll talk to Scott and Mark and make sure there's not a reason that was that way, but that's all I got.
Anybody else have anything else? All right. Being no further business, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming.